92.3 FM. You give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world.
Good morning. It's 74 degrees at 7:40 on this Monday, September 11th. I'm Scott Stanford. Here's what's happening. It's been 22 years since the attacks on the World Trade Center.
There are people just standing on the street, almost their mouths open, gaping, dumbfounded.
The wound's still very fresh for many New Yorkers. The reading of the names and moments of silence at the 9/11 memorial coming up later this morning. Glenn Schuck will join us live from Midtown. Mayor Adams says the city may have to start moving women and children migrants to sleep in congregate settings outdoors in tents. Hurricane Lee gets bigger and stronger, but will it make landfall here in the U.S.? An American researcher who was trapped 1,000 meters down in a cave in Turkey is halfway back to the top. Checking sports, Giants stink up the joint with a 40-0 loss to Dallas in the opener. Mets and Yanks both win. Novak Djokovic takes the men's U.S. Open title. AccuWeather, mostly cloudy, humid. Couple of showers and thunder showers around. The weather's still kind of yucky. High gets up around 80 degrees. Right now, Wins News Time. 7:41. Time for your traffic and transit on the ones. Let's head back out to Karen Stewart.
We're going to the Bronx first this time. Southbound Deegan at 138th Street. We've got an accident. We've got the right lane blocked there. We've got delays into 131st. We are jammed on the Deegan going southbound, trying to get down into the RFK Triborough Bridge. On the RFK Triborough, we had earlier police activity on the city-bound leg. That's been cleared away, but that southbound Deegan delay starts at 95, friends, and goes all the way down to the RFK Triborough, and the southbound Bruckner delay start back at the Bruckner interchange, getting down to the RFK Triborough. It is miserable in the Bronx right now on the Deegan and the southbound Bruckner. We're also jammed on the northbound side or eastbound side of the BQE, trying to get from 48th Street up into the Grand Central westbound and up into the RFK Triborough. Your Hudson River crossing numbers as we check what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels there. 45 at the Lincoln and George, 55 at the inbound side of the Holland Tunnel, and with mass transit, we've got delays of 20 minutes now on the Babylon branch of the LIRR and 15-minute delays on the Hempstead branch of the LIRR. Alternate side of the street is in effect. Our next report is 7:51. I'm Karen Stewart, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
Remembering September 11th, 2001.
It is horrific. A second plane the size of a passenger jet flying into the second tower of the World Trade Center.
Oh my God. It's unbelievable. I've never seen anything like this. The smoke is so thick. There's still debris falling.
That was then morning news anchor Lee Harris on the line with Joan Fleischer, who was an account executive here at 1010 Wins. 22 years ago, September 11th, the terrorist attacks that killed nearly 3,000 people in New York, Washington, D.C., and Pennsylvania. And as we always do and will continue to do, New Yorkers and all Americans looking back at that horrific day, they'll gather and read the names along with moments of silence at the 9/11 memorial downtown. That's where Glenn Schuck is this morning. Glenn, not sure family members of the victims will ever find any closure.
For many 9/11 family members who will be here today, there is no closure. In fact, their pain could be worse. Monica Eichen among them. She met her future husband, Michael, on September 11th, 1999. Married just 11 months when he was killed sitting on the 84th floor of the South Tower.
It's not getting any easier. It's getting worse. That every year that goes by, it just gets worse because we're losing loved ones from 9/11, the 9/11 community. The good news is there are people giving birth now, but those children will never know right now what happened until later. So I think it's so important that we never forget what took place that day and how important it is for the next generation to understand.
Michael Eichen's remains were never found. Glenn Schuck, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM, the September 11th memorial.
And Long Islanders returned to the shores of the Atlantic this morning as they did during the horrors of that day.
Hundreds of people are expected to attend the sunrise service here at Point Lookout Beach. The September 11th memorial wall continues to add names of those who died from 9/11 related illnesses, says the town of Hempstead supervisor Don Clavin.
Joseph Hisselman, his father passed away from 9/11 related illnesses in 2021. That name's been added to the town wall. We're going to have thinking about that.
At the end of the service here this morning, people go and they throw flowers into the water. Many pause and they pray.
I think that people feel a comfort at the beach mixing with the raw emotions of reflecting on that day. And to me, knowing that it's there for her and the other family members is everything it's supposed to be.
Sophia Hall, 1010 Winds on 92.3 FM at Point Lookout Beach, Long Island.
And how about perspective that day from a fire chief arriving early on at the towers?
We saw this plane flying at a very low altitude, extremely fast, but was so low I could read on the fuselage the word American.
Joe Pfeiffer was the first fire chief on the scene. His job sending firefighters in to save lives, including his own brother, Kevin.
I ordered him, as I ordered many of my other fire officers, to take their unit and go upstairs to evacuate the building.
Kevin died in the collapse of the towers, but many others were saved by the men and women who rushed into those buildings knowing they might not come out alive.
That's Derek Dennis reporting. The ceremonies at the 9/11 Memorial getting underway right around 8:30, about 45 minutes from now. New York Mayor Eric Adams says that he and the city are going above and beyond and doing everything they possibly can for the city's migrants. He tells MSNBC's Jonathan Capehart that his comments from last week's town hall were distorted.
We've done more than our share. Over 110,000 migrants have arrived in the city, 60,000 still remaining in our care. And the announcement we made yesterday is stating that we have to go and do several rounds of finding cost efficiency.
And those cost efficiency plans facing even more backlash. The mayor telling Pix 11 that women and children may have to be moved at some point into congregate shelters, some of which included sleeping outdoors in tents.
This comes after immigration and homeless advocates already sounded the alarm on recent statements from the mayor.
And I understand even how a mayor might put out kind of a doomsday proposal to show the president of the United States what could happen.
Christine Quinn of WIN, which provides supportive housing for women and children, says moving families to congregate settings is too far.
It shouldn't even be on a doomsday list. It should be on no list. It's inhumane and it's dangerous.
She says WIN and the New York Immigration Coalition recently proposed giving those families housing vouchers as they do for the homeless for permanent housing, saying welfare hotels can cost the city over $300 a day, while vouchers less than $100. Samantha Leapman, 1010 Winds on 92.3 FM.
And as the NYPD continues to crack down on migrant mopeds and escalating tensions in New York City neighborhoods, Ms. Quinn tells our Samantha Leapman, well, we should really be treading lightly here.
I think we want to be always very careful when the police department is charged with enforcing quality of life crimes, because doing that in an overzealous way really can have a lot of unintended consequences, and we need to be mindful of that in this case as well.
Two of the raids with the NYPD going after illegal mopeds have turned into chaos with brawls and multiple arrests. Winds News Time 7:48. Hurricane Lee remains a potentially dangerous storm in the central Atlantic, with a possibility it could strengthen and even move closer to the U.S. mainland this week. Richard Pash is a senior hurricane specialist with the National Hurricane Center. He says it will take more time, though, to figure out what to expect.
It was Category 5 a couple of days ago, and then it weakened down to Category 2. It's back up to Category 3, or a major hurricane, and we do think there's a potential for it to strengthen some more during the next day or so.
Hurricane Center says dangerous surf and rip currents were expected to hit most of the East Coast as of yesterday. President Biden was in Vietnam over the weekend, meeting with the country's communist leadership to establish a new strategic partnership.
President Biden in Vietnam agreeing to a new strategic partnership, upgrading America to the highest Vietnamese diplomatic status. The move seen as part of the administration's effort to counter Chinese influence in the region.
It's not about containing China. It's about having a stable base in the Indo-Pacific.
The partnership, a stunning reversal less than 50 years after the end of the Vietnam War.
The president stops in Alaska on his way home today to commemorate the anniversary of the 9/11 attacks. Winds News Time 7:49. Both Russia and North Korea have now confirmed that North Korean leader Kim Jong-un will indeed visit with Vladimir Putin in Russia.
With Russia apparently needing military support in Ukraine, North Korea has an abundance of artillery shells to offer. And despite the North operating under a UN embargo, arms trade's expected to be the key focus of talks between the two sides' leaders, reawakening old ties that go back to the Korean War.
That's Alex Jensen reporting. South Korean media says a train, presumably carrying Kim Jong-un, has already left for Russia. Wins News Time 7:50. We'll head back out to the roads, check traffic and transit, and AccuWeather next.
At Fisher Investment.
There's a lot of traffic in this area because there's a situation going on Route 80 involving, I believe, a car fire and an accident. I'm not sure if that's the accurate description of what's going on Route 80, but there is definitely a situation on Route 80 which is causing all this traffic here in these local streets.
And make commissions when you make trades for your clients?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission investment products, and we never earn commissions on trades.
So what's in it for you?
Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when our clients do better. When it comes to helping clients achieve a comfortable retirement, we're clearly different. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
Wins News Time 7:51. Traffic and transit on the ones. Let's head back out to Karen Stewart.
Well, the 9/11 Memorial and Museum's annual ceremony taking place starting at 8:30 this morning and continuing to about 1. Expect heavy delays and security closures in the area, including Church Street, Liberty, and Fulton, as well as possible train delays, the path says, into the World Trade Center because of heightened security. Avoid Lower Manhattan south of Chambers if you're not working or attending the annual ceremony this morning. 7th Avenue, meanwhile, still has the left and center lanes closed between 41st and 39th Street due to a water main break, and we've got that southbound Deacon crash at 138th Street. The right lane is blocked. We are jammed into 138th from back at the Cross Bronx Expressway, and we're jammed on the southbound Bruckner down by the Arcade Bridge as well. Mass transit, we've got now delays of 20 minutes on the Babylon branch of the LIRR, 15-minute delays on the Fort Washington branch of the LIRR. The Hempstead branch is back. We've got both directions. The ones running with extensive delays. The 7s and the 6s have delays too, and alternate side of the street is in effect today citywide. Our next report is 8:01. I'm Karen Stewart, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
Is foot pain keeping you from living life to the fullest? Life's too short to be dealing with foot, knee, or back pain. Come to the Good Feet store to learn how the Good Feet Arch Support System can help you get pain-free. Call 929-373-7343 or go to goodfeet.com to make an appointment.
All right, AccuWeather meteorologist Dean DeVore, what say you, my friend? When do we see some good weather, bud?
It probably will not be until like a stretch of it till after we get through Lee and its potential impacts, and that could be later on this weekend into early next week. We've got more rounds of showers and thunderstorms today, Scott, and the potential for flooding downpours in repeated spots. We're seeing a setup of that in parts of Long Island here this morning. Some heavier downpours keep coming over the same spots: Long Beach, Lindenhurst, Islip, Smithtown, those areas. Right now, I think more areas could get into that here today. Keeping an ear here to 10-10 winds on that throughout the day into this evening. Temperatures up to a sticky 80 today, and then we'll ease off the pedal with showers tonight into tomorrow, but then they'll pick up again tomorrow night into Wednesday. Another round of flooding downpours. Temperatures upper 70s on Wednesday with those downpours, and then back to some sunshine, lowering humidity Thursday, the high 74. It looks like we'll see the most impact from Lee, whether it's just the coastal stuff, rip currents, beach erosion, rough surf, if it stays far enough offshore late Friday and Saturday. But if, again, that track is a little bit closer than what we have right now, Long Island and some of those areas to the east of the city could have more potent wind and rain from Lee, and we'll talk about that as we go through the week. 74 and humid right now, going up to 80. Keep an eye on the sky and an ear here to 10-10 winds for the potential for downpours again today. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Dean DeVore, New York's weather station. 10-10 winds, so 92.3 FM.
All right, thank you, Dino. Yesterday, rescuers in Turkey seem very optimistic as they continue to bring up Mark Dickey from that tunnel he's been trapped in more than 1,000 meters underground. The 40-year-old Dickey was on an international exploration mission in the Morka cave when he started suffering from gastrointestinal bleeding and needed to be rescued. Giuseppe Conti is with the European Cave Rescue, and he says it's going to take several more days until Dickey reaches the top, but they do say he's now about 500 meters from the surface. Wins News Time, 7:54, 10-10 Wins Sports. Giants open the season against the Cowboys last night. Mark Renee, Big Blue in this thing right up until, I don't know, the national anthem.
Well, Scott, to be fair, the opening drive was looking pretty good. They got inside the Dallas 10-yard line, but then a penalty and a botched snap were followed by this from Bob Papa on the Fan.
Snap, spot, block! Picked
up by the Cowboys, and running with it down the right sideline is Noah Igbawani, and he's in for the touchdown.
And it was all downhill from there.
We got skunked here 40-0. So there's, when you play a game like that and coach a game like that, there's nothing that's good enough. And then our job is to go back and, look at it with a critical eye, just like we would do in any game. But, 40-0 is not a good score, obviously. So a lot to work on, and that's what we'll do.
Head coach Brian Dable after the most lopsided Game 1 loss in franchise history. And tonight it's the Jets' turn. They'll kick off the Aaron Rodgers era against the Buffalo Bills. Marker Day, 1010 Wins Sports on 92.3 FM.
Jets fans hoping for a better outcome, I'm sure. Consumer spending may be about to hit a wall. Bloomberg Money Watch coming up next.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hard-working partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
You're out of breath. Your constant dry cough just won't go away. It might be asthma, it might be COPD, but it could be interstitial lung disease. ILD won't wait, and neither should you. So ask your doctor. Find a pulmonologist. The sooner you know, the sooner you and your family can face ILD together. With ILD, knowledge is power, and your strongest advocate is you. Go to lungsandyou.com/learn more.
Wins News Time 7:56. Now Bloomberg Money Watch. Here's Steve Potisk.
Yeah, Scott, consumers, and that's all of us, have done well keeping up with the desire to shop in the face of high prices and surging borrowing costs. But the latest Bloomberg MLive Pulse survey of investors, well, it finds most expect the consumer is about to crack. More than half responding say personal consumption, the most important driver of economic growth, will shrink early next year, marking the first quarterly decline since the onset of the pandemic. Another 21% say they see it happening before this year comes to a close. Right now, though, half of people planning to shop for the holidays will begin or have already begun making purchases before Halloween. That's according to a Bankrate survey, which also finds 2 in 5 holiday shoppers expect to feel financially burdened this year. Right now, S&P futures higher, 17 points. NASDAQ up 102, Dow gaining 31. Bloomberg Money Watch at 26 and 56 past every hour. I'm Steve Potisk for 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
Lance Jameson is one of thousands of patients who have benefited from the affiliation between ENT and Allergy Associates and the Mount Sinai Hospital.
Lance was suffering from a sinus infection that led him to Dr. Andrew Azer from ENT and Allergy Associates.
Dr. Azer detected that Lance had something more serious going on. Because of ENT and Allergy's unique clinical affiliation with Mount Sinai, Dr. Azer got Lance and his medical records to Mount Sinai within 48 hours.
Dr. Satish Govindaraj of Mount Sinai Hospital performed a biopsy, which confirmed a benign tumor.
Surgery was scheduled that day. The post-surgery report? No evidence of cancer. For Lance, that was a real relief to hear.
ENT and Allergy Associates and the Mount Sinai Hospital. That's the power of partnership.
For your same-day appointment at ENT and Allergy, call 1-855-ENTA-DOC or visit entandallergy.com/Mount Sinai.
Here's today's tax tip with Tom Walsh, state and local tax partner at Citrin Cooperman.
Does the collection and remittance of sales tax occupy way too much of your time as a business owner? Are you even sure you file in all the necessary states? At Citrin Cooperman, we help clients better understand their sales tax collection responsibilities and create solutions that protect their businesses from unnecessary exposure. After all, sales tax is collected from the customer, but could become a major cost to the business and its owners if filings are missed. Our state and local tax professionals evaluate what, where, and how to comply with sales tax filings utilizing state-of-the-art knowledge, experience, and technology. Don't allow sales tax to jeopardize the business you've worked so hard to build.
Today's tax tip was brought to you by Citrin Cooperman. Visit CitrinCooperman.com. That's CITRIN Cooperman.com. They focus on what counts by providing critical industry insights and professional services to clients for over 40 years.
WINS FM in HD1 New York. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Checking AccuWeather, warm, humid, low clouds, few showers, including some downpours this morning. Rest of today into this evening, few sunny breaks along with a few more showers, high near 80. More people get their news from 1010 Winds than from any other radio station in the nation. Sharon Barnes Waters is our service aide. Jim Maloney's at the editor's desk, and I'm Scott Stanford.
All news, all the time. This is 1010 Winds at 92.3 FM, New York.
Good morning. 74 degrees. It is 8 o'clock on this Monday, September 11th. I'm Susan Richard, and here's what's happening. Once again today, the reading of the names of those lost on 9/11/2001 as we mark the 22nd anniversary of the terror attacks. Our Glenn Schuck coming up. Vice President Harris will be at the ceremony in Lower Manhattan today. President Biden will return from overseas and speak later at a military base in Anchorage, Alaska. Mayor Adams is hearing it over suggesting the city may soon have to move migrant women and children into outdoor tents. We are hearing from the roommate of an escaped murderer still on the loose in Pennsylvania. We'll tell you what he's saying. And the frantic search is on for possible survivors of the earthquake that killed at least 2,100 people in Morocco. In sports, Giants lost their season opener to the Cowboys. Mets and Yanks both won. Novak Djokovic wins again at the U.S. Open, a record 24th Grand Slam victory. Your AccuWeather forecast, some heavy rain around this morning, then more showers later, the high 80. Winds News Time at 8:01. Traffic and transit. Here's Karen Stewart.
We have fallen into serious disrepair in New Jersey. We've got big problems like 80 both ways. Westbound 80 at exit 60 for Route 20 in Patterson is where an accident with a tractor trailer fire is. 3 lanes are blocked, and eastbound we've got the left and center lanes closed. It is a disaster right now both ways traveling on 80 into Route 20 in Patterson at 60. Then there's 78 westbound. We're closed on 78 still at exit 50 for Vauxhall Road with an accident investigation, and we are jammed there in either direction. 280 eastbound at exit 12 for the Parkway. We have an accident in the center lane, naturally. And the southbound Garden State Parkway, south of exit 160 for Paramus Road in Saddlebrook has an accident, and the left lane's closed. Your Hudson River crossing numbers are big as we check what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. At least 45 at the George and Lincoln, 55 minutes inbound at the Holland Tunnel as we get ready for the ceremonies of the 9/11 Memorial and Museum's annual ceremony downtown. Expect closures on Church, Liberty, Fulton, as well as possible train delays into the World Trade Center. Alternate side parking rules are in effect today. We're sponsored by Cars for Kids. Traffic and transit every 10 minutes around the clock. I'm Karen Stewart, 1010 Winds on 92.3 FM.
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me on this extended 9/11 version of Driving and the News. Thank you for joining me, and we'll see you on the next one.